one of the issues we didn't talk about was energy. And I remember when I was being raised by my grandmother, when she didn't have enough money to turn on the heat some nights because Ohio gets pretty cold at night and because money was often very tight. And I believe, as a person who wants to be your next vice president, that we are a rich and prosperous enough country where every American, whether they're rich or poor, ought to be able to turn on their heat in the middle of a cold winter night. That's gotten more difficult thanks to Kamala Harris's energy policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family. That's gotten harder because of Kamala Harris's policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford to buy a house. You ought to be able to live in safe neighborhoods. You ought to not have your communities flooded with fentanyl. And that, too, has gotten harder with because of Kamala Harris's policies. Now, I've been in politics long enough to do what Kamala Harris does when she stands before the American people and says that on day one, she's going to work on all these challenges I just listed. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. Day one was 1,400 days ago, and her policies have made these problems worse. Now, I believe that we have the most beautiful country in the world. I meet people on the campaign trail who can't afford food, but have the grace and generosity to ask me how I'm doing and to tell me they're praying for my family. What that has taught me is that we have the greatest country, the most beautiful country, the most incredible people anywhere in the world. But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. They're not going to be able to live their American dream if we do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We need change. We need a new direction. We need a president who has already done this once before and did it well. Please vote for Donald Trump. And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say I'm so proud to be doing this, and I'm rooting for you. God bless you, and good night.
I thought that was a fantastic close, and it was really touching when he mentioned about a person who doesn't have the money to buy their own groceries, and they're asking, how are you doing?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. He was very eloquent, and the gays love him, which is always a plus. The beard, apparently the triggered women don't love him because of the beard. I had no idea this is a thing. It's threatening to have a beard. Abraham Lincoln is in many of their fantasies doing bad things to them. A lot of psychiatrists have dealt with this with single Democratic liberal moms.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the beard, we used to have a guy in the Dodgers who was on the Giants. He was called the Beard, and he was a closer for the Giants. We ended up with him at the end of his career. It looked threatening as the Beard. But I don't know how threatening J.D. Vance is to women. According to Politico, very threatening.
Oh, very weird. Well, I thought that they summed up the debate pretty well with these emojis. So you see America first, I love American Constitution, or China first, I love China, Marxist.
You know, Thomas Massey said the other day that he, meaning Tim Walz, may have gone to China 50 times. They're not sure about the total amount of times they've subpoenaed documents from him. The first time he went, he lived there for 1 year. I haven't lived anywhere for 1 year since I lived in the American Virgin Islands, which was a real pleasure to live down there, just eating fruit and lollygagging on the beach. But I was just out of college, so there was some logic to it. However, this guy lived there for a year, and there's a newspaper article that they dredged up in 1990, where he's quoted as saying, "They just keep showering me with gifts, gift after gift after gift. That's why I keep going back to China." And he doesn't say what the gifts are. He just keeps, and then there's a photo of him with like a young Chinese boy. So I don't know what is going on with this guy's world. Like, what gifts were they giving him, and who the hell would sign a parental release form to take their kids from Nebraska to communist China? That's the craziest school trip I've ever heard of. And he did this like 30 times.
I don't know. But the debate was fun.
Yes.
People seem to be responding well. The memes are there. And
he does look a little Don Rickles-ish, doesn't he? Somebody pointed out he looks like Rick. He does look a little like Rickles. I thought he looked like Bo Peep from Heaven's Gate.
I saw that meme. That was too classic.
I invented that meme. What are you talking? It's not a meme. Is that a meme?
Well, if it catches, yeah. I mean, anytime you take something, you put it together.
I got
a meme is literally spreading.
I'm a meme inventor. Then.
Idea germ.
That was good. That was good. People responded to that meme.
Yeah. So somebody in our chat agrees with you that JD is hot with those eyes.
Nancy likes him, but so does West Hollywood. So I don't know. And so does Rick Grinnell. This came from Rick Grinnell, the gay former ambassador to Germany, who is the acting head of national security under Trump. He said that his people, and we know what his people means, are completely in love with JD Vance.
Right. Well, and he's been going viral over his side look. They were talking about how this is.
It was very effective. It was very effective.
The funny thing is that he admitted, and Leslie caught it. I could give it to her. We were watching together, and I thought he was, literally glancing at. He's like, "Look at this guy here." He wasn't. He was looking at the clock. So every time.
Interesting. That's interesting.
And he's admitted. He said he was checking the time to figure out how much longer Walz is going to talk. How much time did he have?
Right. That's a good point.
Which makes sense, but yeah, it's still it still was a happy coincidence because it really came across like he
looking askance or a side glance.
Yeah, like, can you believe this guy?
Right. It was subtle. But what's his name? Elmer Fudd, with those facial expressions. I mean, it was a lot of facial expression. It was like, dude, once in a blue moon, do it. But it was every single beat of the night. He just had some sort of crazy expression.
Oh yeah. It was who else
had
was
to be
doing
on
it?
something. He had to be on something.
Well, his boss was mugging like crazy with Trump. Remember, when every time Trump was,
yeah. But this was those were far more subtle than his bulging eyes. Cartoon Elmer Fudd style responses to every single word, Eric.
Yeah, but this guy, he's pulling like the high school cheerleader. Who he reminds me of when he does that is, remember Steve Ballmer of Microsoft? There was a video going around. Yeah. Well, he had like a company meeting. He took up for Bill Gates and he was like, "Oh, go!" And he's, just like this really insane psycho. Okay. Walz kind of comes across like that, like the coach, like, I'm the cheerleading chubby schlubby guy running into the room.
Somebody put up a better one, and that was Chris Farley entering an auditorium.
Oh, I've seen that.
Out of his mind. I mean, he's very Chris Farley, and we know how it ended for Chris Farley.
Not well, and you could be, and that gives credence to what you were saying about the on something.
Yeah, but I think so.
Here, the thing is, though, he didn't have very much help at all. It turns out that our favorite moderator, who, by the way, in this picture, she looks about 30 years younger than she did in the debate.
That's Brennan.
The really nasty one.
These two Irish harpies. Well, they're both Irish. I mean, there's Nora O'Donnell and this one.
Right. Well, get this. Brennan's husband is Yaddo Yacob,
of course,
who worked as strategic advisor for the Lincoln Project.
Oh boy, that's not good.
No.
That's not good.
Gee, I wonder why she was pulling that crap, because if anybody hates Trump, it's a Lincoln Project. God, they hate him more than your average Democrat.
I found it interesting that Nora O'Donnell. Yeah. No, I was thinking of Nora Dunn from Saturday Night Live, but it's not just Nora O'Donnell from CBS Evening News. $7 million a year. $65,000 clothing allowance, and 4 full-time hairdressers. Those are the perks. But she's an elite, and she knows how we feel about hurricanes and about not affording meals. And not everyone has a $65,000 clothing allowance. After making $7 million, you think you could take something out of that and go get a dress. But
this is for working for
CBS News.
Okay, think about that for a second. So CBS News, she gets that kind of freaking salary.
Yeah.
And she's getting her ass kicked by a bunch of podcasters and YouTube people out there who don't have an entire staff and a wardrobe budget and everything else. I mean,
the model is not sustainable, Eric, which is what I think you're going to. The model is not sustainable. It's so top heavy. The audiences are so small. The ads are going to disappear. They're all pharmaceutical at this point, by the way. if you've watched any of these evening news shows. Speaking of which, I think I'm on one tonight on ABC News at 9 o'clock on 2020 with David Muir. So
I was looking.
I just remembered that.
I'll get back to it because I actually had a segue plan when we were talking about debate, fixers. That was my segue later, but that's fine. You can just shit on.
No, I didn't know what. I just remembered. I'm on the show. I'm on TV tonight. Watching. If you want to watch 2020 at 9 o'clock Eastern.
And I got some links. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. CBS is doing this. Obviously, MSNBC.
This is good.
It's doing it right along.
So do you feel like MSNBC is doing enough to help the Harris campaign?
I mean, they're doing all they can.
Meet Basil Hamden, a writer and producer for MSNBC's weekend show, Iman. Basil.
It's refreshing, by the way. This guy's with a female. Usually it's like another guy. It's like a gay trap. But,
he has also honeypot traps. He goes both ways. I mean,
sure.
Depending on how you go, that's how he goes.
Right. But
I've seen women do this before with O'Keefe
there are some,
videos.
But I'm just saying in general, especially with O'Keefe, it seems it leans a little bit more.
Okay.
Feels that, quote, what her message of the day is their MSNBC's message of the day.
What have they done to help the Harris campaign?
Amplify her message. What her message of the day is their message of the day.
Hamden revealed that MSNBC is the Democratic Party's mouthpiece and is doing anything to get Kamala elected. Hamden says this news network is indistinguishable from the Democratic Party.
So is MSNBC just like doing whatever it takes to get Kamala elected?
Yes. It hammers home the point that I'm making, that this news network is indistinguishable from the party.
Are they just the Democratic Party's mouthpiece?
Exactly.
Anyway, I'll leave it. Everybody get check out James O'Keefe. We get the point there, but definitely.
I mean, if Fox had done this, regarding Trump, there would be investigations in the House over this, and yet nothing happens because, as I've said, we need a bipartisan media oversight committee to call in the heads of these networks and show this to them in live, open session under oath, and have them explain to the American people on the record. That's why I want this oversight committee, bipartisan, and it's a Senate House committee, so it's both branches of Congress, and to do this every 2 to 3 months, where you call in the heads of the networks, mainstream networks. We can't do the newspapers because there are no legal oversights as to the newspapers. There are legal oversights to these networks. That's called a Federal Communications Commission. This is a privilege to have a license from the American people for NBC. Strongly suggest that Trump, when he comes back in, suspend the license of one of them for 30 days and give it back to him after 30, put the fear of God into them, maybe longer than 30 if it's more egregious, but to suspend the license of one of them for 30 days. You will see the enormity of how cowardly they become after that.
I'm going to one-up you. I think they should set all licenses to expire.
Either way, I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
Every single one of them, and then they have to reapply.
Yeah, this is a privilege.
Get the license.
Right. People don't realize. You're right. You could do that way too. I'm not opposed to that. What I'd like to see is the committee I've been talking about for over a year, and this oversight situation. It's got to stop. We cannot survive as a nation if this continues. I'm sorry, they're going to yell First Amendment. It's not going to matter. They could yell it all they want. You just pull the license. They will comply after this is done a couple of times.
Yeah, no,
in my humble opinion. And when you bring in the heads of the networks and force them to watch these types of things or their own stories, where you show a video from 6 months prior where they contradict themselves, or you show them, just an example, just pulling shit out of my ass. You could show them talking about Kamala Harris being the worst vice president of all time, and then you show her as the greatest vice president of all time once she steals the nomination. You can do it that way. Any way you want to do it. If you drag in these $80 million salary guys, keep in mind, she's making $6 million, Norah O'Donnell. The Chiefs are making $60 million. You drag them in and put them under the bright lights of Congress on national TV under oath. This is going to end. That's what has to be done.
Agree. And I still like my removing them all. And then like News Nation can apply. And
Yeah.
so other competitive networks.
Oh, no. Yeah. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of wiggle room. But the FCC voted that George Soros in a 3-2 vote this week along party lines is allowed to purchase 200 AM radio stations and wipe out the conservative radio market in the United States and put on Air America type shows on 200 stations. They voted 3-2 to this to get it in before the election. He's going to move quickly. I hope this can end when and if Trump comes back and drive a stake into this deal. But they're moving at lightning speed to sew up any loose change that may be falling to the carpet of your car by clamping down now on conservative radio on the air in multiple markets, 200 markets, Eric.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that the same people, of Air America and et cetera, who whined that they let Rupert Murdoch buy a bunch of stations and things like that, that now they're just doing it. It's like, oh, no, it's perfectly fine.
No, I don't mind them doing it. They fast-tracked it without hearings.
Right.
It's worse than that. They have the votes, obviously. That has to be gutted. The FCC chairman has to be forced out. You have to get his resignation, which is traditional during a change of administration. You got to put a guy in there who knows media, knows TV, knows radio, and begin to repair the damage, begin to defund PBS, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, begin to defund National Public Radio, begin to enforce these on the books federal communication licensing guidelines. Suspend, do not renew, any way you want to do it. There's got to be a way that is more efficient than another way, but this has to begin. There has to be a way and a multi-tiered approach to deal with universities, media, and also lower level schools in terms of not having cameras in the schools. There's a number of these proposals that seem logical to me that I've been yelling about for 2 or 3 years. And, it's interesting. I'll tell you one that I thought of about 25 years ago. I've been talking about for 25 years. And that was paying Palestinians to leave, giving them $5,000, saying you can't come back. Once you leave the nightclub, it's over. You get a $5,000 in cash, go anywhere you want in the world, work it out. You can't come back, but you got to leave by midnight of such and such a date. And I've been talking about this half jokingly for 20 years. Well, guess what? Sweden is now giving $34,000 to any immigrant who leaves Sweden. That's how crazy my proposal was. And I'm sticking with my original proposal now. Tip of the hat to Sweden.
Yeah. Well, Sweden was right about something else too. A certain virus that went around that they didn't lock every.
Yeah, but they were the one. They invited in so many illegal aliens who just did criminal type things to their females that it's now beyond the point of no return where they have to pay them to leave. True. There's that, and then there's the other problem of EU, and I think that the whole EU charter is going to have to be explored because that's their problem. I don't know. Is Sweden in the EU and Scandinavia?
I
don't know if they are. They're in Scandinavia. I don't know if that's EU, but nevertheless, they're paying $34,000 to get the fuck out, which reminds me of Chaz Palminteri in the bar locking the door saying, now you can't leave. But they had a chance to leave, but now you can't leave, to quote Chaz Palminteri.
All right. Well, back to the election here. It's gotten so bad, Mark, that you really, everybody needs to talk to their relatives, to people they know, et cetera. And this includes those who are gone. You need to talk to your grandma and convince them to, know.
Well, dead letter,
vote.
as I said, the dead letter, the dead voting lists, which is what they were originally called and now generically called that, involve other areas. But apparently one of the most lucrative ones, according to Barnes and Barris, is the ones who never vote lists, who have been
because who's going to check?
Nobody's ever going to check. They never vote, and they're on lists that are very valuable that you could buy. So that list is very, because you can put in their name. No one's going to check. Nobody cares. the dead ones are the dead ones. That's because that was how it's all started. But there's other lists. The moving list is another one. Moving to the next state. You've left the state, but you're still on the rolls. Like, in other words, if you were still on Arizona voting list, you wouldn't care. You're living in the East Coast. You wouldn't care, and you wouldn't check. But somebody back there knows that you've left.
Oh, for sure. Well, obviously that was a joke, but moving to Elon, we talked about this on Tuesday, but I like this because he shared somebody who put some numbers up here. These are the percent increases since 2021 of unauthorized migrants. And look at the swing states here: 401%, 446, 241, 734, 562, 775, and 467. Tell me there's no strategy. And they're literally out saying
there's a strategy.
Schumer's out there giving speeches and going on and on saying, yeah, well, you know what? Our population growth is slow, so we need to bring every possible immigrant in, however they get here, and make sure they're citizens as soon as possible.
Look, I mean, he has got to round them all up when he gets in and just get them out of here. I don't care if they are the mayor of goddamn Springfield. They got to go. I don't give a shit. This thing that Vance was pointing out, this type of temporary visa, which he was trying to explain to Norah O'Donnell before she pulled the plunger on him.
Yeah, I think she knew what he was trying to
explain.
No,
of course she did. Of course she did. Yeah, I mean, she's got not only that, I mean, she's got an earpiece in her ear with producers telling her what to do, Eric. I mean, this is not just 3-on-1, it was 300-on-1. If you put in the CBS producers and other people who are talking in her ear, you've got a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas how to stop things from flowing.
Give him credit, though. When he pushed back and was cornering her like that, and then Tim Walz is dumb enough to pipe in himself saying, what? These laws been since 1990, and the Vance is like, they didn't have apps in 1990.
Right.
And then they stopped. They didn't do that shit again, though. It was like when
you
called them out, that was enough to stop it the rest of the time. So,
also what was interesting was Kamala Harris down in North Carolina or Georgia. Oh, she was in North Carolina.
No. She was in Georgia. She goes to North Carolina tomorrow. They're not worthy yet.
Right. So she was in Georgia, and she's talking about FEMA applications for the $750 that she has promised these people, like $750 is going to cut it. But I didn't catch it at the end, at the very tail end of her pitch. She said, you can apply for them now. And I thought to myself, where are they supposed to apply from? They don't have cell phone service. They don't have electricity. They don't have homes. There's no businesses. Where are they supposed to go? To some Starbucks that has Wi-Fi, Eric? Everything's been destroyed. I mean, what a disgustingly savage thing to say. Dude, people have lost everything, Eric.
Dude, okay. We're going to go into the flood stuffer now because it's getting worse. What you said, you think that's disgusting. Okay, well, here we go. You have this helicopter pilot. He's out there flying his own helicopter. He owns it. He's a retired cop with his son as a co-pilot. Flies up, sees some people that are stranded in an Airbnb. Goes down. It's a small helicopter, so he takes one of them, leaves his son there.
Right.
Takes one of them to rescue, back to the airfield to get out of there. Wow. They shut down his airspace and they say, no, you are not allowed to pick up the second one. So he can only pick up his son because that's his co-pilot. So I guess somehow he wingled that. So one person's stranded at the Airbnb. Hold on. It gets better because not only do they shut down that pilot, you have Gates, Musk, etc. They're coming out. They are actually actively blocking from what they're putting out. FEMA is blocking people from delivering goods. There are people who are showing up with like pallets of water, and FEMA's seizing them. These are the claims. Now,
they're trying to murder these people. Then, I mean, these are voters who they're now going to try to actively eliminate from the earth.
Yeah, I mean, this is some really disturbing stuff. And here's Elon Musk earlier today just received this text. They're now about to shut down the airspace to regulate private choppers, and we're riding in to deliver Starlink and supplies. We're pushing back with the Trump team as well to help us, but not looking good. We need help to get the word out on FEMA. So I mean, FEMA's actively doing this according to that. Now Buttigieg pipes up saying, no one's shutting down the airspace, and
He's a
FAA
liar.
doesn't block legitimate. I love this. If you're encountering a problem, give me a call.
Yeah.
And Elon's like, there's hundreds of reports. This has literally just happened. I'll follow you. DM me the number to call.
Yeah.
And he says here, still waiting. The helicopter's trying to land
funny.
critical supplies. Where's that number to call?
Well, Trump's going to be in Butler tomorrow, as you're well aware, Eric. This is Butler Part 2.
Yes. And Elon's going to be in Butler.
That's what I was just going to say. Thank you. This is going to be a very interesting combo.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because, I mean, Elon is seething. I mean, he's just starting to lash out like crazy. And it's
well, he is putting his money where his mouth is. I mean, this, for people who didn't think he would do this, he's literally on the trail. I mean, somebody could pick off both of them tomorrow if they had an accurate plan. I mean, two birds with one shot.
God forbid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
putting his money where his mouth is, Eric.
Right. Well, and there's another tweet, and I can't find where I put it, but Nick Sorter has pushed back that it's gotten so bad that Sorter has the North Carolina State Police escorting them to get supplies to get around FEMA.
Interesting. It's a civil war at this point. It's a pre-Civil War move. This is Fort Sumter shit, Eric. I'm sorry. This is I know you don't like Civil War. Everyone knows how you feel about it.
That's Tim Pool's thing. Yeah, you and Tim Pool can go hang out and say, Civil War.
No, I'm saying this is a pre-Civil War type maneuver. I don't know any way you want to spin it. I mean, when you're cutting off supplies to people behind enemy lines, it seems Civil War-ish.
It is extremely.
I mean, these are life or death scenarios. These are not ballots. These are essentially physical bullets.
No, I agree. I'm saddened by that. But you know what? You know what makes me feel better and gets me ready for all this?
Right.
Our coffee.
Oh, you and your coffee. Okay, now we're gonna have a break, a coffee break. We just got.
We need to have we got to have a coffee break.
Coffee break. Okay.
I'm stressed out and I need the caffeine here. And
the caffeine is gonna make it worse, Hunley.
You know what? But don't trust me. Look at the reviews. These are reviews coming in from America's Untold Stories. Supreme breakfast blend, so everybody can get off their fat ass.
Interesting.
And you can see that review after review after review. There's a bunch of them.
Those look good.
It's excellent reviews. There's even there's a 3-star there. They like AUS of Sumatra, but they are into full city or Vienna roast. But that's fine.
Wow.
Overall, I mean, I'll take it. You have 4 or 5 stars all around. And this is good coffee. I'm incredibly proud of it. And it does help us out. americasuntoldstories.com/coffee. There is a link in the description. And you can help the show, help a veteran, and help keep things moving, if you will.
Interesting.
And I'm using that because I have in this same area that you were published in this newspaper a few years back.
Oh yeah, but we did an episode right after this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we absolutely. Well, this all leads into.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, this was a. Besides being a regular reporter for the paper, every year we did an annual People issue, which was like 2 inches thick. I think I did about 4 different people in this particular issue. One of the people I did was Don Harisik, who was the #1 single art detective in the country. It was a one-man force for LAPD. He'd been there a number of years, and I interviewed him for this article about his life and being a cop. But when I showed up for the interview, there was another woman there who he was training to replace him as he neared retirement after 20 some odd years of being the lone art detective in the country, and former LAPD detective who murdered her ex-lover. Yeah. So this woman This is the 2020 thing. But the woman I interviewed, I didn't know who she was at the time. She seemed batshit crazy, and she kept interrupting the interview to put in her 2 cents. And her name was Stephanie Lazarus. She was a sergeant, and she had been on the force for 20 years herself. And after I had interviewed her, she was picked up by a special intelligence unit of LAPD, who took her straw out of her drink that she threw into the garbage at outside of Costco, took the straw, ran the old cold case DNA. She had bitten. Not only did she premeditatedly kill the lover of her ex-boyfriend, the wife of her ex-boyfriend, she bit her in the struggle, and they kept the DNA, LAPD, for 20 some odd years, and they matched it with this straw. After I'd done the interview with her, I didn't know anything about this. It's just what happened, and I was the last person to interview her. She was sentenced a number of years ago, and now she's up for parole very quickly. And this is the subject of the interview tonight that I'm on with 2020. She was at the parole hearing on Wednesday. I don't know what happened on Wednesday.
There's 120-day hold or something before it happens, so she's not getting out. But
that's 4 months. Yeah, I didn't think she was getting out on Wednesday. But the point of the matter is she's up for parole. And the family's freaking out. Everyone's freaking out because I think she only served like 8 years or something. But just an incredibly egregious, premeditated, violent murder. And she got away with it for over 20 years, promoted up the ranks, unbeknownst by LAPD. Except there's a lot of twists and turns to the story. And it involves the evidence room of LAPD. She eventually marries another cop from LAPD. There's a lot of inside stuff with the LAPD helping her to cover this up, which will be part of the story tonight on 2020. It's a picture of her there.
Right. Well, anyway, this what I was trying to tell you. Commissioner Garland stated that the board had found good cause to rescind her parole and would reconvene for further hearings regarding Lazarus.
Mm-hmm. So there will be another chance for parole set for another suitability hearing in 120 days. Okay. Anyway, so I'm sure this will be part of the show tonight.
Yeah, it should be. So anyway, I had a preview. I didn't know if we wanted to play the trailer.
Yeah, go ahead, roll it. Yeah, we'll do it because we have the episode too ourselves that we did. Yeah.
Look at the description.
It was a huge story.
It's one of the greatest true crime stories of all time.
Sex and betrayal, lies.
A beautiful young nurse, only 3 months into her marriage, brutally murdered in cold blood.
He sees his gorgeous bride dead in a pool of blood on the living room floor.
It's like being hit by a train. Just like being hit by a train.
This was a cold, calculated murder.
She was shot at point blank range.
Investigators believed Cher was the victim of a burglary turned murder.
But not everyone was convinced. There was another piece of evidence, a bite mark on Sherry's forehead.
Well, lo and behold,
I'm not going to go any further.
No, I mean, that's great.
If it survives the copy claim, or
that's great. Yeah,
but
I mean, the bite mark was really the key to solving the case because they kept that, and there's evidence that does disappear from that evidence room, which I hope they get into in the story. I haven't seen this yet, so I don't know how.
Yeah,
much
it's on tonight on ABC, but if people have Hulu, you can watch, I think, on Hulu tomorrow. It'll come.
Or you can watch our episode of the Art Detective.
In the description, there's a link to our episode because you'll want to watch that, of course, to get more background information in addition to it.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. I mean, he had like PTSD from working ramparts in the 80s. He had been involved as a cop in so many bloody murders that he couldn't take it anymore. And there was a guy who tangentially was the art detective, like a guy who was in the, I want to say he was in another division, but he dealt with art theft crimes. It might have been something to do with industrial theft or something. But this guy created his own art theft unit, and the FBI didn't even have one, and New York didn't have one. And this guy was like the Columbo of LA, going around to wealthy people's homes, finding out, where their Van Gogh went up in Bel Air. and he solves a lot of these crimes. Fascinating guy. We tried to make a TV show out of it, me and him. The LAPD famously grilled me as if I was a suspect in a murder. It didn't go well. The TV show I thought would help LAPD's image. Boy, was I stupid. But nevertheless, it's a great article, and it's a better episode for us.
Yeah, no, it's a good episode. I mean, people loved it. And it was one of those that we put out at the time, and it was set up in a manner so the Lazarus was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, well, that's why 2020 saw the episode and reached out to me to do this piece. They watched it. So they didn't go back to the article. The article obviously was like 2009. They saw this thing on America's Untold Stories.
Okay. Now pivoting back to politics. Now, apparently this is 2016. I don't know if he's changed now, but I thought it was pretty cool to see Bill Murray.
Oh my God. Has he changed about what?
Than anyone that's ever been a president, such a different character than anyone that's ever been a president of the United States, I think. I think this is what this vote means, is that the country is dissatisfied with the way that Washington has worked for the last couple of decades. You know, they're lazy and they're about inhibiting the other side. They're not about working together at all. And it's sort of become such a national disgrace, a quiet national disgrace, such a different case.
What is he talking about? He's talking about Trump, and that a vote for Trump is a vote against the system.
In 2016 or no?
Yeah,
or
it was
in general?
2016.
Yeah.
It was a Trump for Trump, or vote for Trump is a vote against the swamp.
Well, I mean, look, Murray and all his brothers, there's like 18 Murray brothers, and they're all coming out of Chicago working class roots. I'll put it this way: they all like to drink, and
I hear.
I was with them back in the day. I don't know how Bill Murray has lived this long. To be honest with you, I could tell you stories about Bill Murray all day long, just drinking stories, and they would eat up the whole show. But God bless the guy; he's super talented, and now is a short fuse. But maybe that's helping him navigate political worlds in Chicago. I mean, he's probably fed up with Chicago. Is really the situation has become so egregious in Chicago as to be a dystopian city.
Well, one thing I learned about Murray has nothing to do with politics or anything. It's just weird. Is that apparently he's a big dude. Like he's a very large individual, or larger than people think, like 6'2".
I don't remember him being that big. His brother Brian Doyle Murray, who famously plays Jack Ruby, as people remember in JFK, sort of a short, squatty kind of a guy, a shorter Murray brother. There's John Murray, who I knew. There's all kinds of Murrays. I think there was a bunch of these brothers out of Chicago. I don't know how many the final head count was, but Bill is he's not as big as Aykroyd. Aykroyd was gigantic, as I recall. I hung out with Aykroyd quite a bit back in those days, doing things that were weird. But Aykroyd was a big guy, and Bellucci was enormous. So I don't know who was the biggest.
Maybe that's why Murray doesn't seem as big, as because they were all big.
Yeah,
I guess Chevy Chase.
He was big also. He was like 6'3". Yeah,
right, and he was legitimately afraid of Murray, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would be afraid of Murray, despite his height. I mean, the guy's a maniac.
He's a funny maniac, though. All right. Well, okay. Speaking of maniacs, or possibly maniacs, remember the whole sexting thing? We've got Olivia Nuzzi and RFK
Yeah.
Jr.
Where's that at? Where's that? What happened with that story?
Well, a new penny dropped, I guess. And Nuzzi is accusing her ex-fiance of blackmail over this tryst, and gets a no contact order against him. So I wonder if he's the one who leaked the whole thing.
That's what I thought. That was my read. Ryan Lizza, of course, the guy is very famous, far more famous than her as a political journalist. Ryan Lizza was the creme de la creme of CNN and wrote for Politico, I think, and wrote for the New Yorker and other magazines. It was like a marriage of two journalists. I don't know if they ever got married, but they were fiance and together for 10 years.
Yeah, ex-fiance. Yeah, I don't think
ex-fiance. Yeah, I don't think they got married, but it could be. I mean, isn't that revenge porn, Eric? Revenge porn,
Yeah,
right?
prawn. Yeah. We just can't say the full word
okay.
on YouTube. But yeah,
okay,
yeah.
whatever it is, isn't that it?
Technically, I mean, well, actually, it depends.
Okay.
If he leaked nudes of her, yes.
Yeah.
If he linked like dirty talk, I don't know if you call it
Okay.
that or not. I
right.
don't know. We'll find out. I mean,
Yeah.
she did get an order against him, so it's going to get interesting.
Right. Oh, interesting.
So
Now
that
they're saying Cheryl Hines is preparing for divorce. That this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know. The reports are that it was the Trump endorsement that did it. This was just icing on the cake.
I'm sure that neither helped.
Right.
Their relationship. I
Well,
mean,
he's helping Trump. Talking about
Oh,
helping. Him and Shanahan teaming up, and him and Gabbard teaming up, and I don't know if he was at Lollapalooza Weinstein Fest the other day in Washington or not, but
I think so. I think he was there.
I saw Matt Taibbi was speaking there.
Yeah,
He was
Jordan Peterson was there. Dave Rubin was there. I mean, there's a lot of surrogates going around this time. I mean, we got Musk and Butler. No,
Musk and Butler is the best surrogate of all.
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, it's making me kick myself because I was like kind of wanting to go back up to Butler to see if I could, go to that rally, the follow up.
Right.
And it's like, damn.
Right.
Oh,
well, you'll have a chance when we go down to Florida for the big meetup, Eric.
Yes.
The End of America election night meetup may be the last meetup of all time because it may be the end of the country. So we're all going to be together for that. It's almost like one of those end of the world movies where everybody's together in the basement and, Tom Cruise is running around outside and there's aliens. I don't know if it's exactly the same as that, but we're calling it the End of America, America's Untold Stories meetup in Boca Raton. This coming election day, we're going to do live election coverage with a live audience, with dinner and drinks, and who the hell knows what else. We're going to go as long as we can until there's a winner or a loser. And then if there's a loser and it's us, you'll never see us again. And that'll be the end. that'll be the end because I'm not coming back. I'm moving to Moscow or St. Petersburg after that. So Eric will be hosting on Friday after the Tuesday night election. Got great hotel discounts. I swear to God, they're super cheap. We'll probably put it up on Monday. I'm just waiting to sign a contract. They give you a code, and then you can plug in the code. It's a great hotel in Boca. It's a great ballroom, buffet, meetup, the whole schmear. We're going to have celebrity guests, either physically or electronically, right, Eric? One of the
both,
other, or
possibly both. I'm not going to say until I have confirmation on,
these
on
people
who or what, but we will be there. And it's the same as the hotel.
Yeah.
And it's just like the hotel. We worked out the deal, but I didn't want to say what the hotel is so people don't jump ahead and just start booking things and then say, hey, I didn't get that discount. What about that discount? So I'm going to put it up as soon as we have it.
If you can book and you want to book, it's, it's okay. But I mean, if you wait till, I think I can figure this out with her by Monday and sign the contract. It's an electronic.
And Tuesday,
by Tuesday, it's an electronic thing that when you pay, it generates the code, apparently, that you can. I locked in like 20 or 30 rooms, so it should be enough for everyone. If not, we've got some more. There's a lot of space down there.
David March is planning to attend, and he has a country to flee to.
Well, maybe you can let us in on that country because I've got.
I don't know. It's Canada, dude. Do you want?
Okay, well, mine is under fire right now. Happy New Year to my Jewish relatives and Jewish friends. Shana Tova to everyone. You should enjoy this year. It should be better than this current past year. I'll leave it at that. Who knows what's going to happen this week in the continuing saga of. I get the magazine Hezbollah Monthly, but they cut off my subscription. I think the publisher might have been eliminated. So I might move on to Hamas Weekly, which is a newspaper. Somebody put out some parody newspaper out of RFK's camp, kind of like an Onion newspaper. I don't know if you got a chance to see that yet.
Not that.
It's very lampoonish. Actually, a hard copy newspaper, parody paper.
Wow. Okay, interesting. By the way, one more thing about the event. We're doing something different this time we've never done before. to thank locals members and support locals and back and forth everything. There is a major discount for all locals members.
Whoop,
So
whoop, whoop,
I would
whoop.
recommend, and I have a link on the sign up page. You literally get the full locals membership discount. It's a $70 discount. A membership for locals is $70. So if you've thought about joining locals and you want to do the meetup, join locals and you're essentially getting it for free.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game, and that puts more cool people into locals, things like that. And I want to support the people who are already in locals as usual. So they will get the discount. Anybody wants to join locals?
Well, locals is also Rumble now, right? So it's
well, locals is owned by Rumble. It's kind of a subsidiary.
Okay.
But I just want to let everybody know that definitely, to take advantage of that. And that gets
I mean,
and
it
all
could
the
be an
good
early
stuff.
night, but I may be a long night. So I don't know how long we're going to go, but we've got contingency plans late at night to continue into the night. Let me just leave it at that.
We either to celebrate or commiserate.
Or commiserate, celebrate, commiserate, or I'm bringing my bags packed to leave Florida at that point to another nation. So my bags are packed. They will be packed.
All
I
right.
hope I have to unpack them, but you got to be ready for anything.
No, I agree. Well, and speaking of being ready for anything, public advisory for everyone, even though the strike apparently for the port has been averted temporarily with, by the way, a 60% pay raise.
Yeah, I saw that. 60%. That's fair. That's fair.
Good Lord.
Dude,
I wish I
we
could
should
get a
see
60% pay raise.
I think the New York Times was 60%. I mean, everybody wants 60%. Why shouldn't they have it? It's on the backs of poor people who are not in a union. Why not?
Well, the people who are in the union are doing 60%. But anyway.
Right. But I'm saying the money's got to come from somewhere, and it comes from money that's going to come out of regular people who are not union members in cost increases, shipping increases.
Oh, yeah.
Things of that nature.
Corporations aren't going to pay it. Obviously.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. In response to the strike, though, there was a problem with everybody was buying out toilet paper everywhere. And that was happening not only in New York, it was happening here because it was like, oh, let me check. Oh, BJ's is sold out of all the toilet paper. Now, public service.
I stocked up before.
Just so people know.
Yeah, it'll come back, right? Or no? I mean, now that the strikes, it's just shelved till January, from what I understand.
Correct, but again, what I'm trying to say is that the toilet paper is a domestic freaking product.
Oh,
it's made in America, Canada, and Mexico, and it comes in by trucks. So,
so where are they keeping it? Where are they hiding it?
Well, people are hoarding it.
Oh, they're hoarding it.
Okay. There's no reason for them to hoard it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so give it up. Let's give it up to the people in North Carolina. Let's go.
Exactly.
They should drop toilet paper from the sky from all the different airships, maybe a blimp, like a toilet paper blimp that dropped. Remember when Trump went to, I think it was Puerto Rico, and he was like throwing paper towels like footballs? When Puerto Rico got wiped out in the hurricane, he was like tossing them like Joe Namath. By the way, tip of the hat to Pete Alonso last night. One of the greatest clutch home runs I've ever seen since Gibster did it when Kirk Gibson did it for the Dodgers. Top of the ninth, down 2-0, hits a 3-run jack, and then they picked up an additional run, 4-2, to drive a stake into the Brewers. Difficult to do on the road, 3 consecutive games on the road in your other person's stadium. They pulled it off, the Mets. I don't think they're going to go past the Phillies, but oh my God, what an exciting game last night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then, of course, tomorrow and Sunday, Dodgers Padres right here in LA. It's going to be on Fox, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. They swept us out 2 years ago, and I've got a bad feeling of anxiety about this year as well. They just own us, Eric. It's just going to be, I hope we can get past them, but I'm preparing for the worst. Isn't
there a controversy about tickets? Like people north of San Diego are being frozen out based on zip codes for credit cards?
Yeah, they did it last time too. They boxed out Dodger fans. We can't buy tickets. It's a free country. I just want to tell you, it's a free country. I looked to buy tickets down at Petco, and because I am in the wrong zip code, my money's no good in San Diego County. I don't know how they got away with it 2 years ago, but they instituted the ban again this year to prevent Dodger fans from showing up in mass and owning the stadium, which we've done many times there. You know, driving down the 5 with Dodger flags like we were Patton's Third Army, taking over the entire stadium. They found a legal, or put it this way, electronic way to deal with that problem.
Seems a little sketch. I'm surprised nobody's suing them over that. I mean, that I don't know. That's mind blowing.
Yeah, it is mind blowing, but it's becoming an intense rivalry.
All right, this is a weird shift from the toilet paper, but I saw this story and I thought it was shocking. This BBC journalist, Frank Gardner, was forced to crawl on the floor to use the plane toilet. This guy is in a wheelchair, and the airline's like, "Yeah, we don't have one. Tough shit."
What do they normally do? I mean, when you
normally they have a folding chair on the plane, and then they just pop it down and whatever.
No. I mean, do they wheel them to the toilet on the plane?
Yeah.
Do you? Wait a second. Here's my question: can you bring your own wheelchair onto the plane?
Apparently not, and they don't have.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, and I don't. Well, and if you think about it, whenever you get on the plane,
this is Polish airline. I don't want to make a joke about it, but this is Polish Air a lot for what it's worth.
No, I'm just saying, okay, think about every time you get on the plane, they always say, they're boarding people who need assistance, blah, blah, blah. And they have airport wheelchairs that these people are in.
It's what happens once you're jumped in there, though? How do you
Well, that's the argument, is there should be a folding chair on the plane. I think most of them do. Or at
folding chair? What do you mean by folding chair?
A collapsible wheelchair.
Oh, you mean a wheelchair? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You said folding chair. I didn't know what you meant.
Sorry.
I agree. No, I don't know how they're supposed to navigate around the plane. They're just supposed to sit there?
Apparently, and it's really sad because this is the airline's response. It said onboard wheelchairs are available on its Dreamliner planes, but not at short haul fleet because of limited space. So I'm like, you're just like kind of rubbing their noses in and saying, no, if you go and you upgrade to our nice plane, you can have functionality to go to the restroom. But sorry.
What if the guy's got diarrhea or something, or he's really got to urinate? What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to have a colostomy bag with him? Or, I mean, what is there?
I don't know.
What is the standard operating procedure for any airlines? I don't know what that standard is.
I'm not sure, but I bet you we have people who work in the airlines.
Yeah, somebody's got to tell us.
Please comment.
Yeah, because I never thought about it. Now it's like my mind is racing, going, this must have happened a billion times in American airlines industry. And I don't mean American Airlines. I mean,
U.S. carriers.
U.S. carriers. I mean, what is the standard operating procedure? Does a stewardess carry you to the back of the plane? I mean, what's the deal here?
I don't know what it is, but I was like, they need to fix that or find something. Because that's pretty sad. And then even the flight attendants, I guess, were watching them like just cringing, like, I don't know what to do. But all right. This is your neck of the woods. Famous case, and it's the Menendez brothers.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it looks like Gascon or whoever is considering. Well, they're doing a Me Too defense. I guess back when this crime happened, I do remember that they claimed abuse specifically from the father. Bad things we can't say on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Anyway. And now I think last year in an interview, somebody else said, the father did these bad things to me when I was over there as a kid.
I think it was a Menudo kid. It was a Menudo kid.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. A member of a band. And, these are really, really, parents are really bad people. And I mean, my view's kind of been, I think they've been in prison for almost 35 years. And if they were abused, I'm like, well, they served some time. Maybe I'm okay. Maybe they can come out, but I don't know. You probably know the case. So what's your thought?
I not only know the case, I know that this happens in LAPD all the time. And I'll tell you what all the time means. Natalie Wood case. Anytime there was a new book, they'd find a LAPD detective, they would bribe him, and they would reopen the case. Anytime there's a documentary, they will find an LAPD detective. They will bribe them. Anytime there's a new movie or a book on the Black Dahlia, they will reopen the case. The reopening of these cases tied in with the Netflix documentary that's just come out makes my spider sense go off, because this has happened in LAPD history plenty of times with celebrity murders. That being said, George Gascon is in a fight for his life regarding his election challenge by Nate Hochman, and he's seizing this thing by the horns to have a press conference about this case so he can have more exposure after the debate debacle that he had with Hochman. So there seems to be 2 or 3 different forces at work here. However, the case itself, Mark Garagos has weighed in because he was a lawyer for the Menendez. So he is pushing for their release. So you've got 3 or 4 different forces that I just mentioned in operation here. Whether they served enough time, I'm not sure. It was a brutal, grisly, premeditated murder of their parents. They then complained they were orphans. I don't know if that's a good defense. And now
and they live pretty large.
They live pretty large. I mean, now to claim, I don't know, maybe they served enough time. Maybe they can get paroled. That's not insane. But they found a letter 9 years ago that there's no verification of this letter, claiming that by a cousin that he wrote to a cousin that he was abused. The letter is in his handwriting. There's no way to date the letter. He could have written it from prison and sent it to his cousin for all we know. That being said, there's multiple forces at work here simultaneously. The Netflix documentary has just been released, which I think is the main culprit for this activity.
Well, it could be, but I'm sitting here thinking we were just talking about an earlier case in LA, and you're talking about Lazarus, who's barely served any time, and she's already up for parole. These guys have been locked up.
Well, we could go back to our 2-part episode on Sirhan. Sirhan is the longest serving convict currently in California penal system. I mean,
he's number 1 now then. Okay.
Yeah, I think the other guy croaked. I think he's number 1. You can't get paroled, for a crime he didn't commit. He shot some people who lived, and then someone else killed the guy he was aiming at. Again, a crazy case, but nevertheless, these have political ramifications to them. I was involved in the parole hearing with RFK Jr., as many of you know, if you want to look at the episode, and the parole board voted to parole Sirhan, only to be overturned by Governor Newsom up in Sacramento. So there's always some mechanisms involved other than straight up judging of cases. Let me put it that way.
All right. Well, speaking of another case that's coming out, I don't know a lot about it, but I'm like, Garth Brooks is having some problems.
I have no idea what this is about. I have no idea.
Yeah, supposedly a makeup artist is accusing him of grape and other bad things, and he's saying that he was hassled with threats and lies, and I'll just stay tuned. I don't know the veracity or anything else. I just was like,
I don't have a take on it.
Because there's so many of these that go, it's very confusing. It's hard to trust immediate headlines. Now let me see.
That being said, I mean, Diddy's still in jail, I presume, shopping a tape or someone shopping a tape of Diddy's parties. And a lot of people are nervous about the tape, Eric.
Well, yeah, because it seems like, he's shopping it. But there's other ones that are coming on. A guy I've actually interviewed, Chris Todd, has a book from Diddy's ex that he's been bringing around. And
that was just removed from Amazon today. No, I'm serious. The book was removed. The memoir of his wife, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
That was removed. I saw an article by Amazon.
No, I'll text Chris and see if I get a PDF of it. Maybe I'll put it on local. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so back to the politics though, and crime. One guy who won't have to see any trial for a while is Ruth.
Yeah. I mean, what is the deal? Other than corruption and delay and trying to obscure this thing, request indefinite delay. And I mean, this is an open and shut slam dunk case. I mean, why would you call for an indefinite delay? I mean, you could say January, you could say December, you could say next summer. I've seen all kinds of different things in different cases, but indefinite, that's a thing? The court goes, okay, that sounds reasonable. How long of a delay would you like? I'd like an indefinite delay. Or when would that end? It's indefinite. I have no idea when it would end.
You know what it could be? Not to be cynical, though, but I'm thinking back with the Santa Fe, Hannah Gutierrez, Adam Baldwin stuff, where they had charged, and then remember they dropped the charges, and then they charged them again.
Right.
And I was like, what the hell's going on? Nate the lawyer explained to me that if you're going to charge, you have a clock. So the day one you charge, you have
they're just
put them on
ready.
trial in a certain amount of time.
They might not be ready.
So here, if they say indefinite delay, it's like, well, we're gonna charge.
Okay. All right, I'll buy that.
Delay, and apparently the defense is fine with it.
Apparently not. Your girlfriend Morrissey's not happy with it down there in Santa Fe, though.
Oh, well, that's a different case. Yes, she's having a very
she's having a time accepting this, Eric.
Well, yeah. I talked to Nate, though. He said I'd do it too. So I'm like, okay.
Right, but I'm saying Morrissey wants the case reopened. She's going before another judge today, and has demanded that
it's an appeal. She's appealed.
It's an appealing.
Went back to the judge. The judge told her no, and so she's seen another judge. I don't think that the pressure's on Morrissey as much, though, because Hannah's other case, a lot of this is to keep Hannah in, because Hannah and Bowles were trying to ride off of that to get Hannah out. But Hannah has now been turned down by all the judges. They're saying, no, we're not going to revisit your case. Tough luck, you're going to finish it.
Well, the case of FEMA running out of money is far more interesting to me. The fact that they spent $1 billion, according to news reports, settling illegal aliens, and now have nothing for hurricane victims, according to Mayorkas. This is the craziest scandal of all time, Eric.
Yeah.
What is the deal here? How can you not have money for hurricane victims for relief, and when you spent your entire budget on illegal aliens? Is this possible? I mean,
obviously. What I I take a strange comfort out of all this, though. And the fact that they're screwing this area so badly, and they are.
Yeah.
Georgia and North Carolina are both swing states. And that makes me think that the internal polling is saying that Kamala has been destroyed there. And that's why they're punishing the people. It's like, if you think about it, they're like, oh, you're a red state, screw you, die.
It's like
Florida to New York,
He said it out loud today on CNN that these are Trump voters and that's why they're being screwed. So you're not alone. He's now speaking out, David Axelrod. So this is not a conspiracy theory. Apparently there's some truth to it.
Well, if he said it, I mean, geez, if you're saying the quiet part.
Saying the quiet part out loud. Fuck these people. Fuck these people. I mean, they may not be able to vote at all, Eric. This may give her Georgia and North Carolina. If they cannot vote and there's no voting system, I can only go back to Chinese Communist Party weather manipulation. I know it sounds laughable. The Chinese have been working on this thing for many years. They apparently have mastered the art of controlling hurricanes. There's a lot of stuff out there about this before you laugh about it.
I'm not laughing. I'm
you. I'm talking about the audience. There's a lot of material out there regarding this.
There's a couple of very specifically troubling things about this. Number one, these places being flooded were not coastal. They're in the mountains.
Yeah.
Normally mountains are high. You don't do the flooding.
This was an insane, weird geography for this damage.
And it gets crazier too, because there's apparently, and again, I don't know how to verify it all. There's two projects going on, one of which was a lithium mine. And the locals were saying, screw you, no, you're not going to have this lithium mine. Well, there aren't any locals there anymore. Something happened.
Well,
and then there was also a quartz mine. And these two go together. You mentioned China, by the way.
Yeah.
Lithium happens to be, oh my God, in
Yeah.
phone, it's
Yeah.
one of the most powerful things. Quartz is also there. People, it's a little older school, but still it's the screens, it's different things. Quartz for transmitting data. That is very interesting. Both happen to be in the area. Both were having a lot of problems getting to expand the quartz mine or to get the permission to do the lithium mine. I don't know. I'm just saying that what a happy coincidence for these companies that they may be able to move forward now because, those pesky locals are busy trying to rebuild their lives wherever they can.
Well, I think they have their own DARPA program over there, the Communist Chinese. So I'm just putting it out there that they have been involved in a lot of weird weather situations the past 10, 15 years in terms of controlling the weather. And the sources have come to me over the past 4 or 5 years talking to me about this. I never really bought into it, but now I'm starting to think there might be some truth to it.
Well, I think every country has their own quote DARPA program.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best in the world is probably Israel.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying this might be theirs.
Oh, or I don't know if it's even theirs. It could be ours.
Ours. Good point.
I don't know. There's
very good point. I never thought of that. Could be ours.
You have money in industry, military, industrial complex. Now we got the technological. That's something that Robert Epstein pointed out to me, and I keep forgetting. Eisenhower, when he did his speech, everybody remembers the military industrial complex, but he also talked about a tech aristocracy that was coming up, and it was in the same speech, and that they were going to ultimately rule the world. And it's spooky. I encourage everyone, his speech is all over the place. Go look at it and you'll notice, oh, wait, there were two things that he talked about.
Right. Well, just also Google Chinese weather control and go into that area and see what the machinery is like for that, Eric. Not you, but I'm saying the audience at home. Yeah.
Yes, and then there's those coincidental Chinese weather balloons or
what were they about? What were they about? It doesn't make any sense.
Like scouting.
No, but I'm saying that was the minimalist viewpoint, that this was so primitive that they're just doing reconnaissance. Maybe there was more to it than that. Like maybe they were not. Yeah, right. Maybe there was much more to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems rather naive to simply think that they had to get reconnaissance with a balloon. You know what I mean? It just seems rather naive that was their entire high-tech operation, Eric.
Well, I don't know. I've no clue, because it could have been. I mean, if it's explainable and easier to cover, I don't know. I don't know. The balloon got free. What have you? Anyway, I saw the Babylon Bee really does a great job, and this one is one of those that I'm like, they nailed it. It's so perfect, but it's kind of sad versus funny.
It's not even funny. I mean,
it's dark.
If we just get that money, if we gave away the money that we now need. I mean, I don't know if it's so funny. By the way, Chris Rufo is hiring investigative reporters. It's $100,000 a year. A job if you're interested in being an investigative reporter for Chris Rufo, who's done a lot of great DEI, anti-DEI work. You could go to his Twitter account. There's an application there. It's not complicated, and it's $75,000, $110,000 a year job. So with benefits,
and remote friendly, I think you said.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's very good for a lot of people who want to, because $100,000 in New York is not that great.
It's better than nothing.
But elsewhere in the country, no, I'm saying because it's remote friendly.
I'll tell you what's worse, having nothing in New York.
Well, okay, whatever.
Right.
The remote friendly is very important for that. Let me see. What do we have here? We got the 2020, obviously, and Biden apparently made an appearance today.
Dude, I saw this today, and the odd thing, which I didn't realize, there's 90 days left in his administration, right? Whatever. He's got 90 days left in November, December, January. It's like 3 months. This is his first appearance in the press room in his entire presidential career. Think about that. His first time is, I think he did it simply so he got up on the scoreboard. This crazy event today, which sounded like
I didn't know it was his first ever. I thought it was like his first in forever.
Ever.
Oh my God.
He did it to simply have done it. And it was like this weird, crazy cacophony of chaos of the Haitian harlot standing next to him. She was picking the questioners. There were 3 Chinese girls in the front row. I don't know what that was about. And she picked the questioners, and it was just crazy, Eric.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was totally crazy. Mostly about the Middle East.
I'm sure, but I'm sorry. I am shocked as a first ever.
Me too. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
It's mind blowing.
And then he just waddled out. He couldn't open the door. She had to at one point she's like grabbing his arm and leaning on him like he was her father, laughing. They all started laughing while people are dying in the Middle East. People are completely obliterated in North Carolina, and he's having a laugh fest at this press gaggle in the White House press room. I mean, you talk about tone deaf. This guy is the inventor of tone deaf.
Well, and then his statement was, what was it? He said something essentially that he expected violence.
Yeah, that was insane. He said, this is going to be a free, fair election. I can't say about violence because the previous president was involved in creating violence. So I can't predict that.
I mean, what a scumbag.
Wow, what a scumbag this guy is.
Wow. While we're on scumbags, let's talk about the judge here.
Oh, this is so dark. It's so depressing, Eric. I really don't even want to talk about it. This is the Gold Star mother, Tina Peters, who was convicted in Colorado. I was talking to Eric before the show about it, for preserving election material that was inside of the machine that was
and sharing. I think she preserved and shared.
Right, but going a step backwards, previous to the sharing, she was told by her superior to delete everything in the machine, and she furtively kept it. That was the beginning of the crime. She was told to delete it, and then she kept a copy of it, and then led to her dispensing of the copy and doing something with it. But this judge, maybe you could just play it, and maybe it'll be self-explanatory.
Yeah, this tweet was quoted, "This will make your blood boil, so get ready."
That's Julie Kelly said that.
Why I should impose a particular sentence. She tells me about her ailments, her loss, her struggles in life. But in reality, for those of you who may have been here earlier this morning and seen some of the folks who've occupied that chair before Miss Peters, there could be not much in the way of a comparison in terms of the type of sympathy one would extend to Miss Peters. Those folks didn't have 4 lawyers representing them. They didn't have a team of assistants helping them. They're not getting rides in private jets all over the country. The people who sit in that chair suffer, generally speaking, immeasurable trauma in life, struggle mightily with
usually convicts,
alcohol abuse, substance abuse, mental health.
I'm sure their victims aren't suffering.
Family loss.
Yeah, he's not talking about the victims. He's talking about the criminals.
Yes.
The cards they were dealt were never the cards that you were dealt, Ms. Peters. So when I hear you discuss your husband, who sadly passed away recently, your family struggles, and your son, who served our country admirably and made the ultimate sacrifice, I consider it. And I know, too, that he honored his oath to the country, something that is not lost on me when considering the circumstances.
I think it is lost on you, bro. Obviously lost on you.
your age, limited criminal history, and the like are certainly somewhat mitigating.
So I'm making sure
it's not limited. It's not limited. It's
your
0
reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done here and after. Your lies are well documented.
Well
And these
documented
convictions
lies.
are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could.
Yeah, she's a rebel.
You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
Ever seen in his life.
Yeah.
You don't
His
have
grandmother.
history of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no
Too bad.
lifetime of trauma, not even close.
Not even
The
close.
type
Too
of
bad.
Mitigating circumstances. I
busy
would
being a
see
law-abiding
folks who
citizen.
Sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters, you are a privileged person.
Yes, and you will be sentenced to the maximum for that.
You are as privileged as they come.
Yep. Okay, so of course she kept a record of the machine tallies on the votes. She gave it to as a whistleblower to Mike Lindell.
Somebody's saying that somebody leaked it, so she may not have.
Yeah, that's you're saying that. I never heard that. I just heard she made a copy. I never heard about the leak, Eric. That being said, she's sentenced to 9 years hard labor in the state of Colorado in a state prison for she was part of the election machinery. She was a secretary of voting or something in that town. She wasn't just some random person. She was she's a Gold Star mom, and her son was a Navy SEAL, killed in action, I presume, and she was volunteering or working as an election secretary and saw some irregularities, decided to not delete everything in the machine and to keep a copy of it. And apparently she's now got to serve 9 years in prison for that crime in this Soviet Union. This guy has to be removed from the bench no matter what happens. This has to be overturned on appeal. If it goes to the United States Supreme Court, wherever, it's got to be done quickly. This woman is elderly. She has no record. She has led an exemplary life, to her discredit, according to this judge. That's apparently a negative, because the people who have been before him have been really violent criminals, and she's not one of them.
He likes them.
He likes them. They suffered in front of him. This is like some bizarro Square Planet Superman comic episode where everything is fucking backwards.
And by the way, everybody who's saying pardon, Trump can't pardon her.
It's a state operation.
Crime.
It's a state
and
crime.
The state governor is a scumbag.
He is a screaming queen who is completely out of touch. He is the gay. I said this last night. Polis in Colorado is the gay version of Tim Walz. Just a gay version of him. This is so dark, so egregious, so dystopian that if this is our future, we are completely ruined as a nation if this is where this is going.
Yep. I totally agree. You know what isn't dark? I'm going to pull us out. And
I just want to say the guy's name is Judge Matthew Barnett, for people who want to deal with this guy.
Yeah, hopefully he has to run for election, and so people can at least vote him out or get a recall going or something, because this is egregious.
Right, and her name is Tina Peters, by the way, and this is in Colorado.
So all of you in Colorado, I hope there's a recall mechanism.
You got enough weed yet to suppress your pain in Colorado? You smoking enough weed yet?
Well, we probably need to smoke more to deal with him. All right, Pamela Clifton. Happy Friday, guys. I love the thumbnail. Thank you. I love it too. I think President Trump would like it too.
Yeah, he called me about the thumbnails, Eric, and he said he really likes them.
Good. I'm here for it. Dick Dickerson's back with 20 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much, sir. Mike Schaefer, the $1.99 sticker, I guess.
This is the heir to the Schaefer beer fortune. I don't know if he can afford $1.99. Schaefer beer was a huge brand for many years. Schaefer, obviously, the heir to that beer fortune. And Schaefer is the beer to have when you're having more than one.
Oh, okay. Bob Tranquilli has been a member for 12 months and proud to be a one-year member. Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you very much. And thank you for the continued support. And then Dustin, we know Dustin. Dustin has been our MC in Youngstown. Come on, Mark. Every kid was allowed to go to a communist country at the height of the Cold War. I went to North Korea.
You know, somebody pointed out he went to China from Minnesota 30 times. It's probably more times than he's gone to Wisconsin, the neighboring state, Eric. You know what I mean? It's the numbers are so crazy.
It's staggering. It's staggering.
The numbers are so staggeringly insane. The ambassador to China there 30 times, the United States ambassador, yet this fat fuck went over there maybe 50 times, according to Massey out of Kentucky.
By the way, that brings up something, and I have to take it back. I actually stated on Tuesday when I heard about him claiming to be in Tiananmen Square when all that happened. I was like, oh no, he probably just meant he was there, but it wasn't necessarily at the time. No, in the debate, settled up.
Yeah.
Said after, what was it? They asked him, he did a 2-minute filibuster of, I'm a proud Middle Western guy, all that bullshit. And then finally she, to their credit, did the follow-up question. Well, the question was, were you there when you said it? And he goes, I misspoke.
Right. Now, again, I'm trying to dissemble this, but he misspoke saying I was in both Hong Kong and China at that time, going back and forth.
Well, you know, he was there 2 months later. Where he claimed he was actually there 2 months. It was like,
right, but he's the one who brought up Hong Kong.
Well, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, he brought up Hong Kong, Eric.
But he was in the States at the time. I think because they have a newspaper article of him getting an award at that time or so.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's so full of it, and he doesn't stop with himself either. He's stealing valor for his son, for God's sake.
Is it possible that he was spying for the Communist Chinese in Hong Kong?
Sure. It's possible he's spying for him now.
Right. No. I'm saying it might have started with Hong Kong.
It could be.
Just putting it out there. Putting it out there.
Yeah. Good question, Blitzen. When did the UK give up Hong Kong? Wasn't that 99?
Yep.
So good point. But British were controlling Hong Kong at that time. Anyway, but then how do you like that about his son? How suddenly his son witnessed a shooting?
Oh, that was insane. That was a ridiculous Biden-esque lie. He witnessed it by being in the same city. That's how he witnessed it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. All right, Jim tells you said, keep up the fight. We will win. Trump 2024. Thank you. Bob Tranquilli gifted 5 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you. I love that people are giving out the memberships. That really does. It helps a lot. Mike Schaefer with a $4.99 super sticker.
Look, because Schaefer is the heir to that Schaefer beer fortune. He found another $5. Way to go, Schaefer.
Thank you.
Way to dig it out. First beer I ever had, Schaefer beer. Didn't even have a pop top. You had to use a can opener. Big fan of Schaefer beer.
When did that pivot over? Because that's all in my lifetime. No, you had the pop top, but then they had the pull tabs that you remember they would come completely off, and it would leave it somewhere, and then they finally had the built-in ones that they have now.
I remember using a can opener and opening it with a can opener, and this was before pop top. I think it's pre-Walking on the Moon to after Walking on the Moon, so it's 69-ish. The pop top is after 69.
So it's pre 8-track.
Oh, that I don't know. That's
but
but
some of these it's like 8-track overlapped with a CB radio. They had these little short windows, and I think about it, it's like
8-track was not that short of a window. 8-track was around for a little while.
Yeah, but it actually was only like 8 years or so. Yeah,
in the 8 years at that time, 8 years is like a million years in pop culture.
Well, that's like I remember DVDs, and it was like, oh my God, DVDs. Well, I mean, they're still used now, but I'm just saying that DVDs, and then all of a sudden it was Blu-ray, and Blu-ray was kind of short-lived if you think about it.
Well, they still sell Blu-ray. I mean,
I know they still sell them, but
betas versus VHS is the one you really.
I had a beta.
Okay, of course you did. Did you have a laser disc? Is the question?
I did too.
Of course you did. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
But hold on, I got the laser disc after they fell out of favor from
of course
thrift
you
store.
Did you have the laser player? It had the turntable.
Yeah, I definitely did. got it at a Goodwill,
right,
for like $30, which they probably paid $1,000 for. And I forgot. I think on 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was because you had to flip them.
Yeah,
that was the crazy
strange.
part.
Right.
Now, I will tell you that the Laserdisc, though, one thing that is super valuable with them is if people want the unedited Star Wars in the highest possible quality, the original Laserdisc hasn't been mucked with by Lucas. You can't get it on DVD. You can't get it in old VHS, but the Laserdisc is the highest quality, just if people are interested. Dr. Evil 814, the Democrats know they have lost, so they're going scorched earth on America.
I've said that the dog whistles are really shrill right now.
Yeah, and somebody else said that too, that they're trying to start as many wars and everything else, so then they can hand it to Trump and say, well, look at it, what a mess he is in. Oh my God, look what Trump's doing to this country. Fletcher Boy, several videos of people getting denied FEMA because they have homeowners insurance.
Okay,
great.
I mean, what do they normally do? I mean, with Katrina and other hurricanes?
I don't know. I've never heard of FEMA running out of money ahead of time. Have you?
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, this is all new.
Yeah, this is all new. This is all new.
Yeah, this is punitive. I'm telling you. Thank you, Steve Flannery. And then Sean Lucan is gifted 10 American Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much.
He's the son of Wolf Boy. That's not the actual Wolf Boy himself. That's the son. Lucan is the son of Wolf Boy.
I see. Well, we have Dog Boy here who says, screw
Dog Boy.
LA
Okay.
And the Dodgers with their drag queens.
Look, again, most fans don't care about the management. The management is super woke. It's the people on the field that I care about. The Yankees went through the same thing when Steinbrenner was a convicted felon, and people still were Yankee fans. I mean, they weren't happy with the ownership of the Yankees, and it varies from state to state. I could only say Marge Schott to people in Cincinnati who had German Shepherds and was not the most woke owner in baseball. I'll put it that way.
I think my favorite ownership example is not baseball, but football, and that's Green Bay.
Oh, the town owning it. Yeah, the town.
Isn't that kind of cool? Because it's like, you're not going to be running out of town here, buddy. You're our team. You want to be here? You work for us. That's sort of awesome.
Oh, I meant to tell you, Eric Swalwell is involved in the recall of the district attorney of Alameda County, which is Oakland, in a DA's office that he served in. This is the Gascon of Alameda County up there, a black woman being recalled because of the enormously high crime rate in Alameda County. And Swalwell is leading the charge to recall her. So he smells the winds of change are shifting, and he's shifting with the winds.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is Mr. Fang Fang.
Oh, yeah. I know who he is. All right. David March says, why do you think it's the Chinese and not HARP in Alaska? I think he's talking about weather stuff.
Yeah, maybe it was HARP. Maybe I spoke. I said DARPA. I meant HARP.
Anyway, I could.
Yeah.
Doc 5758. What's happening in North Carolina could be the same situation that happened in the Hawaii fire.
Except that's a big blue area that they burned down over there in Hawaii. So I don't know if they would torch their own, but that was all blue there in Maui.
Yeah. Well, it is, but I haven't looked into it. Again, you think about those mines. Do you think they care if there's Democrats or Republicans or whatever? The area that is affected in North Carolina is the bluest part of the state. Asheville is like San Francisco in North Carolina. I don't know if you knew that, but they're very blue. And really, they actually probably did make the state go more red by getting rid of population if they have to move out of state.
Well, they got to go somewhere.
I know it's horrible. I mean, it's truly horrible what's going on. Rosalind Duke has been a member for 2 months. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rosalind. And then Pirate Ken came in hot with $50.
Pirate Ken? What's going on, Pirate Ken?
Yeah, he said he hung out with Mark and Al Gonzalez at the Dallas Hotel bar last year, post JFK lectures. Are you returning this year? 2 JFK conferences scheduled. Yeah, Kappa is back in Dallas this year, so we've got the Lancer Kappa, battle going, I guess.
Hey,
We
Pirate
don't know if
Ken,
we're
why
going
don't you come to Florida, Pirate Ken? Everyone's going to be in Florida.
Yeah. Good point.
Thanks for the money, though.
But thank you. $50 is very, very generous.
There was somebody who put 100 pounds on.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
Was that
the super
100 pounds yesterday on the super
Yes.
thanks?
Somebody put a super thanks on Tuesday's episode.
Of 100 pounds?
Yes.
How much is 100 pounds?
Well, that's like after YouTube's cut, maybe $90 American or something.
Okay, weird.
Wow. I mean, it's a lot. Thank you.
But I mean, they're from England. They were from, I didn't understand where they were from.
Well, if it's pounds, it's likely they're English.
Right.
But yeah. Look at us Blitzen. Christmas time. Gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank
Look at
you.
that cute little dog. Look at that white little dog. He's so cute.
It is cute.
Yeah.
It is cute. Wow.
Viva had his dog and he started licking his face, and his dog face was covered with dirt and just brown stuff, and he just started licking Viva's face. It was totally disgusting. It should be banned from YouTube. Then Viva couldn't switch from YouTube to Rumble because whatever
Rumble
happened.
Studio. Hello.
Rumble Studio didn't work, and he was stuck on YouTube with his dirty-faced dog.
Can I point out for the record, all of those who watch me on the grill stream every week griping about Rumble Studio, there's proof I am not alone that they've got to get this tech worked out. Otherwise, as soon as they have it worked out, I'll be on it every week doing this show with you, Mark. I mean, I love a lot of what Rumble is doing, but
what are the bells and whistles that are good?
They add the ad capability. They add a call-in capability. So for the grill stream, when that works, I actually have people who call in and talk, talk to us. Dustin's called in a couple times.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Other people, and that's really nice because, locals kind of laid back, cool thing. They have the ad stuff, a rack where, there's ads put in, which is very helpful to the user. They allow me to bring up Rumble rants and local chats. So I'm not limited, but if it breaks and it doesn't work and it's clunky, and that's not a help. More features. It's kind of like it's like Power Windows. I know I talked about Power Windows recently, but remember back in the 70s, Power Windows were great at the dealership. Right. But probably within a year, I mean,
they did get stuck. They did get stuck.
They always were broken. So it's like, that's not a luxury when the damn thing's open and it's raining. So,
or in the car wash when you can't close it fast enough.
Oh, Jesus. I've got to start. I had a moonroof on an old Honda CRV. And this is when I was dating Leslie. And we went through the car wash. Now, the moonroof wouldn't close completely, but it was enough that even when it rained, it didn't really get inside.
Right.
However, the pressure of a car wash.
Yeah. Oh, that
was,
could.
And it did. And by the way, it was recycled water. So we drove through, and it was like, what's that smell? Oh, Jesus. It was a very bad day. Very, very bad day indeed. It sucks being poor and not being able to fix your car.
Wow.
But let's on a happy note, since we're talking about cars, we'll talk about a bit of a white pill. Robbie Starbuck.
Oh, now, who is this guy, Robbie Starbuck?
I can tell you about Robbie Starbuck.
Go ahead.
First off, it's an interesting thing. You pointed out to me when you said this, one guy did this.
Yeah.
Well, Robbie Starbuck has put Harley Davidson on notice, John Deere on notice, Toyota on notice. God, there's another one, a Tractor Supply Company or something like that.
Coors.
Coors. Anyway, this dude, he's a director out of Hollywood, I believe. He lives in Tennessee now, I believe. And not of normal, but of like music videos.
Yeah.
Like, I guess he's done some award-winning music videos. So he's a legit, director working with fans or with bands. He has made it his life's mission going after all the woke companies that are trans-friendly or whatever, I'm not saying it to disparage. It's interesting though, because he's this gay dude,
right?
Who's doing that. And another guy, I think Scott Pressler is also gay and doing this. Another single guy going around really kind of getting a lot done.
Well, Toyota literally ended their Pride Week festivities, their DEI program. I mean, they gutted the entire thing literally overnight, Toyota.
Well, another one did that too. Indian. Well, this is the thing. This guy is such a pain in their ass that I think Lowe's preemptively did it.
Right.
Because he told them, oh yeah, by the way, you're next.
Oh my God.
And they were like, oh, let me change the policy. And then Indian did it because they saw Harley Davidson writing on the wall. However, you got to watch out because some of them have just switched and changed the names of the programs.
But he's on to them, this guy.
He's definitely
the point is, what I think what I was trying to say was one guy could make a difference because these corporations are cowardly, and here is pushback by one human being and they buckled.
Yeah
Wow.
Because he does it extremely effectively. And I'm thinking, being a director, in a short video format with music, he knows how to package the message.
Wow.
And okay, so Scott Pressler started to walk away.
Oh, okay, right.
See, I always thought Brandon or whatever his name was walk away, but anyway,
I think there was that other guy who started.
Yeah, there was another guy. So I don't know if Scott started.
Right. But I don't think he started it. But maybe
I think
wrong.
Scott Pressler, I think, did a lot of work in Baltimore and got somebody. Anyway, I don't remember.
Garbage, I think.
He did do a lot of garbage.
Then there was the guy, the anti-abortion guy who climbs buildings, like that Spider-Man guy. I think he's from Baltimore too. He scales buildings. Wow. Like a Spider-Man, if anybody knows his name.
Strika, I swear, was tied with Walk Away. I think it's Brandon Strika.
Brandon Strika, yeah.
Straka, or something like that.
Straka, yeah.
Okay, well, it's different names, but it's somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, that he's the one who did that. But
there's a guy
they're all making a difference.
Who climbs buildings and to make a statement about abortion. And he gets arrested. He scales skyscrapers like a Spider-Man. I've seen him. I've been doing it for a number of years now.
Okay. Somebody said Scott is not gay. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm rolling together with Brandon and some other, but there are these individuals who are making a large difference. And I think that's fantastic.
Well, Musk is going to make a large difference if he shows up at Butler tomorrow.
Oh, Elon, yeah. Elon's going to be there with Trump. That's excellent to see, because he's pissed off. However, sadly, it's good that corporations are getting there, but we've still got the military problem.
This guy here, they're saying he is the wokest military guy in American history. The guy on the right, the guy on the left, nobody really knows who that is, but the guy on the right, Charlie Brown, happens to be the replacement for Mark Milley, and he's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and head of the Air Force. And his goal is to eliminate white people from the Air Force. He wants to get it down to 43% as quickly as possible, and then go from there. This guy's the most dangerous man. The most dangerous man in America. Has to be court-martialed. Has to have his pension revoked. I'm sorry. There's no wiggle room for people like this.
Anybody that literally wants to make white people 43%, it's not making sense. One, I don't believe in quotas at all, but at least if you said, okay, 13% have to be African American, I can sort of say, well, the population's 13%. But when you're saying that the population, when approximately 73% or whatever is white, but it should be.
He has to have it 43%. It makes perfect sense. He's insane. That's why he has to be charged with insurrection and put on trial.
Being military, you don't know how.
It's crazy, Eric. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's more than crazy, Mark. it's deadly, and that's the issue I have. This is not the Human Resources Department at Tractor Supply. These are people who are going to die.
No, people do not. The statistics with that article showing how nobody wants to join the Air Force anymore because of these numbers.
Yes, because they want to live.
Well, they also know they're not going to get promoted, which is what is really driving a stake through it. They're just going to be stuck that this racist, this avowed racist, is in charge of is the chief of staff of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I mean, he's an avowed racist and a Marxist, and yet he's going to get off scot-free and retire. I believe at a minimum his pension has to be revoked. I mean, that's doable. That's doable.
God. Yeah, no kidding. Well, hey, Tim Walz had his changed. So obviously it's doable.
Oh, yeah.
He got a demotion, remember?
Yeah.
And that directly affected.
Look, why do you want to go to Afghanistan when you can go to China and get showered with gifts every time he goes to China, whatever those gifts are?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm anybody. It's really hard for me to tell parents or advise because it's a tradition here in the South, especially. A lot of families, their children join the military. They are proud Americans, but I can't recommend anybody supporting their children joining the military, not putting them at risk like this, not this embarrassment we have. I mean, that's
why I support having General Flynn as the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and starting to. Yeah, I've been saying this for a while. I think he has to dismantle all these programs, and nobody knows it better than Flynn. I think he would be a great Joint Chiefs of Staff head. So that's a great position for him, I think.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't want to do it,
make him do it. Make him.
No. Just say, who do we want? He knows these people.
Oh yeah,
he knows these shitheads.
Yeah,
and he can say, get this one, and fire all these people.
Yeah,
because he probably, a lot of these people served under him.
Yeah,
as a scumbag, lieutenant or whatever.
He knows who to get if he doesn't want to do it. But it would be great symbolically for him to do it, at least in the next administration.
Yeah, or a secretary, sec dev.
Yeah,
it could be sec dev.
Well, that's a complicated job, but. Hey, the guy they have now is completely unqualified. So
both of them I'd say the same complexity. Chairman of Joint Chiefs and Sec Dev are pretty much. Anyway, let me see. Dog Boy said maybe this hurricane is the October surprise.
Like I said yesterday, everything's the October surprise now, because I was on with Greg Budell out of Montgomery yesterday, and I said everything is an October surprise because nobody wants to do a July surprise, because the July surprise, and I'm just picking a month, becomes meaningless in a couple of months. So anything, and this includes dock strikes, this includes everything, is now being attached to an election to give it more media coverage, Eric. That's why the October surprise now is everything. It's everything. It's a dock strike. It's a Middle East war. It's a disease. Whatever it is the October surprise now.
Well, and since it's October, anything happens, whatever.
No, but I'm saying stuff that they plan to do in July, they're now doing in October.
Oh, sure.
Because of the media advantage to doing it in October.
Yeah. I mean, there's logic to that.
Yeah.
Jenny's getting inky with it. Colorado's a lot of communists. The judge sounds like one. Most of what he said aligns with their view of equity. Oh,
yeah.
Sure. If he was a DA, I'd say he got money from Soros.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the guy's background, but if he's an elected official, we have to flood the zone when he comes up for election and get down there and make sure he never gets elected to anything ever again.
Agree. Pew Pew gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Pew Pew's back. Thank you, Pew Pew. I appreciate that. By the way, I sent a package to Pew Pew.
Okay.
And in the beginning of September, early September, as of September 19th, so the package went from Hampton, Virginia, to Richmond, to Ohio, Pennsylvania, I believe, then to San Francisco,
What? Where does the guy live?
In Melbourne,
Australia?
He's in Norway.
Oh my God! What?
And the last this package was received September 19th in Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, USPS.
What the fuck?
I've never seen.
Why does it have to
like
go to all those cities?
Dude, I understand the international. They're like maybe it'll go through and then like it'll go to Chicago and then out of there. Like international transport. But it's like, why? It's literally circling the damn globe.
Interesting.
Maybe he'll get it by Christmas, but it's not looking good.
How many cities has it been through?
I'd have to look it up because it's just crazy. It is 8 to 10 and crossing the planet.
Wow.
I'm like, you're going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. It's like
bizarre.
Not the Pacific Ocean, it's the Atlantic Ocean, you idiots.
They don't even have the right ocean.
No. Or the right hemisphere. It's, I mean, it is completely
I'd like
nuts.
to get some smoked salmon out of Norwegian friends of the show, if there's anybody out there.
There you go. but don't send it through Australia.
It'll go to Australia, but if it's in a jar and it's sealed,
Oh, frozen. All right. Lynn Bleckstein. Friend works for Walmart. Mini rigs filled with the basics rolled into North Carolina. FEMA tried to stop them.
Wow.
But they finally backed down.
Wow.
Rigs unloaded and citizens have been using their horses, boats, and drones to deliver supplies.
Okay, so they're using mules now in the mountainous areas of North Carolina to bring in supplies. Mules. That's where we are. No, but I'm saying, again, I this is where we are as a country, that we're now resorting to mules.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No. I mean,
we have helicopters, we have jetpacks, we have ATVs. I mean, we have all kinds of different things. We're now reduced to mules.
Growing up the way I did, a mule's more effective than an ATV.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, you'd be surprised. But that's how bad it is. I know that this one guy was talking about.
Is a mule the same as a donkey?
No, a mule's half horse, half donkey.
Right. What's a burro?
A burro is like a cousin to a donkey, but they're not quite the same.
I know.
Yeah, but they're similar. It's kind of like
is a zebra a horse?
It's in the family, and they can breed. Well, I believe.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not an expert on.
No. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know either. These are things that keep me up at night.
Well, that's what the chat's here for, and it'll.
Yeah, if you guys know, there's a lot of shit I don't know about. A lot of shit. That's why I ask a lot of questions. I've been haunted. I thought that as a kid, I had it all figured out. I thought dogs mated with cats and had mice. I thought that lions mated with tigers and had cats. And I thought black horses mated with white horses and had zebras. This was at the age of like 7. I had it all figured out.
There's some.
I learned everything from cartoons, but I thought I had biology figured out by the age of 7.
Fair enough. By the way, one thing about mules, and I think people are going to bring up in the chat anyway, they are sterile. So that if the mules were no, they can be created by a donkey and a horse, but they are sterile.
Donkey and a horse makes a mule. So I wasn't far off in my crazy underage.
No, not completely.
I wasn't that far off.
Right, it's sort of like ligers, which are lions and tigers.
Right. I didn't know about that as a kid, but I
and the reverse.
And what?
There's the reverse too. There's ligers, and then there's the reverse. But it's because there's I don't know how it goes down, because one's like a female of one species and a male of another species, or the reverse male female.
Weird
deal. But burros and donkeys are the same. Scarlet Rose is claiming. Okay.
Okay. All right. I had a feeling they were the same.
It could
but they're using burros and donkeys to get supplies into mountainous regions of North Carolina in the West.
Right. Or donkeys for flyover country.
Or donkeys for flyover country. Donkeys, as opposed to the massive amount of donkeys that we had in Brooklyn.
By the way, I shared a tweet out the other day, speaking of donkeys, and it was a donkey just showing the business to a hyena. It's pretty badass.
Oh, with this hyena kicking backwards, kicking?
No, it's like, and he grabbed the back of its neck, and this hyena's like, and the donkey was kicking its ass.
What about bear versus lion? How does that end up?
It depends on the bear, and a mountain lion will take out a black bear.
Yeah. Okay.
But a grizzly is, I don't know.
Grizzly versus lion.
That's depends on who gets to jump on the other. I think the lion's probably faster,
quicker.
The grizzly is stronger. I don't know.
There are videos on the web of these encounters.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Good point. Cocaine Bear always wins.
You know what? That was a good movie, Cocaine. As crazy as it was, I think Ray Liotta was in it for some reason at the end of his life. It was entertaining. It was entertaining.
All right. Dog Boy's a new member.
And uber violent. Let me just put that. It's not for kids. Cocaine Bear shreds a lot of people.
Okay. Is it like Sharknado?
No. There's some violence that is really hard to watch from the Cocaine Bear.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. He shreds some people.
All right. Big Fish said we needed another show during the week like this until election added. Okay.
We do. We have it on Tuesday.
But not next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's Hunt.
Right. What is this guy? Big Fish. What do you want us to do? There's only so many days in the week.
They want a daily show.
Fish. I mean, we can't help you, bro. You got to get a life.
Jenny's going to ink you with
the
it.
Donation. Thank you.
Brandon Straka started Walk Away. Pressler is the one who goes around registering people to vote. He did cleanup initiatives in Baltimore a few years ago as part of his efforts.
Right.
Okay. And I vaguely remember, Baltimore and cleanup.
But I think the Spider-Man is still out there in case anyone knows about the Spider-Man.
Okay. Jenny's going to ink you with it. The quota stuff is successful. People won't be able to choose what field they work in. The government will decide based off the quotas that needed.
I never thought about that. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Well, by the way, that's Soviet.
I know. I never thought about that. That's fascinating. That may be the ultimate goal.
Well,
they funnel you into where it's needed statistically.
There could be, but guess what? That's one thing I was trained on when I was at Fort Irwin. Was the part of the failure of the Soviet Union is that system. And this is why. Because in America, we gravitate towards what is convenient for us or works for us, or we have a knack or a talent or propensity to do. In the Soviet Union, they would say, Mark, we need a mechanic. You're a mechanic.
Okay.
And you'd be like, I don't know shit about fixing this. I don't care. That's your job. And what in essence happened is a lot of Soviet equipment was broke down. And they didn't have good mechanics. They didn't have good people to work on it because they didn't really have the skill. They didn't have the desire to do that skill versus you have people here traditionally, God only knows now, who were craftier and able to adapt, put things together and things like that. And they had that initiative. The communist system of just shoving people wherever you want to fill the quota is a failure. And it causes long-term harm.
Wow. Well, I don't think they care about any of the things you just said, but that's a good
well, they
point.
don't think about it because they're in the book. All these philosophies are written out of people who don't leave the classroom. They're professors and whatever else. And they just go, oh, the logic of this pattern is blah, 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 blah. Let me see. Charlie Don't Surf said he's going to see us in Boca.
Charlie Don't Surf. Way to go. Robert Duvall quote out of Apocalypse Now. Charlie Don't Surf. I think that was correct. And of course, it goes hand in hand with I Love the Smell of Napalm in the Morning. Written by Amanda Milius's father, John.
That's right, John. Lahatul Vibite. The super
what does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. Didn't Milius also write Dirty Harry?
I don't think so, but I'd have to look it up.
Okay. Fletcher Boy, Mark, we have dipsticks in DC trying to stop everything.
A dipstick that goes into your engine, or just a dipstick as a slur? I see, like a nitwit. That dipstick, right? Okay, I thought he was talking about because Eric was talking about being a mechanic, and then it says dipstick, and that's what I was connecting.
All right. Sam Adams, heard of this Dr. Jack Cruzcat, seen in combo with Nicole S. Says he met Bobby. Fascinating interview on the Danny Jones podcast.
Tom told me to watch it. I started watching it. Some doctor used to be in New York. Not really, haven't gotten into it yet. I just watched the first couple of minutes. So I'm going to look at that over the weekend. Yeah, on that Bobby Jones. Is that the guy's show? Danny
Jones. Danny Jones. And it was, I think he did Concrete with a K.
I don't
podcast,
know, but
same dude.
People, like a lot of people told me to watch this.
Okay. Well,
which I started to watch, and he's some doctor from New York who moved out to the Sun Belt or something, as far as I got.
Oh, wow. I'm sleeping on Rumble, it appears.
Wake up over there, Hunley. Come on.
Several.
We're over here on Rumble. Let's do this.
All right. Well, we got several rants that have come in over the show. Freddie 65 said Axelrod says slow Helene response will cost Trump votes. The sophisticated voters, Dems, will find a way. Check Clay and Buck X for full statement in his own voice.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow,
that's what I was referring to. Thank you.
Flea speech, 9 years for Tina Peters. Kind of harsh, eh?
Yeah, I think we mentioned that I was floored by this sentence by this Nazi judge who was sentencing her. I mean, it's just shocking, absolutely shocking.
Anyway, I'm going to push back on Axelrod a little because I'm just wondering, does he really know the geography of North Carolina? And I wish I could ask Rich Barrisis, because knowing Asheville being the bluest of the blue of the blue, hitting extremely blue areas.
He could be referring to the fact that the city will pick themselves up faster than the rural areas.
Maybe I don't know.
Which is quite traditional in terms of natural disasters.
Mr. Mike said Jimmy Dore is reporting that only brand name goods are being accepted as donations by state authorities for victims of Helene, per Ryan Tyre on X.
Boy, oh boy, this thing is getting darker by the minute. This is
no generic water for you.
This is a DEI recovery program. I think that's what this is completely about. Every aspect of this thing will be about diversity, equity, and inclusion on all levels. I mean, she initially said that minorities should receive care first, in terms of dealing with the resources. I think there's more to it. They have a plan that they're implementing that they have pulled out of a drawer regarding DEI and natural disasters, I think, Eric.
Oh, I'm sure. Freddie 65 with $20 Rumble rant said South Texas local station has Kamala ads saying she will make billionaires pay their part. Has a video featuring Trump and Elon, also included Elon's mother, Maya. Gets sick every time it runs.
His mother is involved in this? She's going after mothers?
Apparently. But they don't stop.
I'd like to know about Trump's wife's book on abortion, what the chat believes about that book. She has come out strongly, and they're making the reason I'm bringing it up is they're making a lot of hay out of it on the left. It led all the nightly news broadcasts last night. Her memoir, I don't know why it had to come out before the election. I don't care that she's pro-abortion, but the fact of the matter is she didn't need the money from the book. Why this book had to come out now is a head scratcher. She's now provided them with a sword to stab her own husband in the back. I can't just ignore it, Eric.
I don't know. You did put up, hold on, there's an article on that here. I haven't, nope, I don't have that. But that's weird. The link that I had for that is now Brian Kemp meeting Trump for the first time.
That's weird.
Since 2020. Okay. That is weird. I don't know. We'll have to find out more about that. Maybe I was affected.
Well, the answer was that Trump's response was he told her to write whatever she wants. And if you feel strongly about it, to put it in the book or whatever. My question is, why did the book have to come out before the election?
Yeah,
why? I mean, she doesn't need the money. She doesn't need the exposure. If it's the book publisher that's doing it, they should have said, no, we don't want this before the election. I mean, I understand the marketing, but it's her book. It's her book. I mean, you don't have to agree to have this book come out and have her views on abortion now being used against her own husband. I don't begrudge her the views. I begrudge her the book coming out right before the election, 30 days.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was influenced from some of the California cannabis that you have.
So this is going to be like in Amsterdam, except they don't have guns in Amsterdam. So I'm sure this is going to end badly at some point. But they signed legislation. This was so sorely needed that they couldn't wait anymore to have, again, you can't smoke cigarettes anywhere in the city, but you'll be able to smoke a bong in your favorite restaurant. Think about how crazy that is. Like my closest analogy is almost 20 years ago. I was in the theater around the corner on Broadway where the Allman Brothers had set up to play for a couple of weeks, and I was in the back row, and it must have been over 20 years ago because I lit up a cigarette, and I'm in the sea of pot smoke in the theater when the Allman Brothers were about to play, and a guy holding in a massive hit of pot in a sea of pot smoke turned around to me and said, "There's no smoking in the theater, bro." And then he unleashed a massive hit of weed. And that was 20 years ago. This is now progressed to where you will be able to smoke weed with thick volumes of smoke in restaurants in Los Angeles and in California. It's just shocking. I mean, it's just, you can't even smoke in a hotel. They've made it illegal to smoke cigarettes in your own apartment.
You can't even no flavored vapes either, by the way.
Right. But the obsession with cannabis to dumb down this population is not going to stop. It's just not going to stop. The tax taken from this is so small compared to street level cannabis as to be ridiculous. So it's not a money thing as much as it is a dumbing down of the population thing, in my humble opinion.
I don't know. I can't figure out. I honestly, I was surprised that you didn't already have them.
Well, I mean, again, you could smoke anywhere. What difference does it make?
I meant the cafe aspect of it.
Oh, the cafe. Yeah.
Like, oh, come in. No, it's a.
I've been in those cafes in Amsterdam. So, I mean, they come to you with a wine menu or a regular menu, and then they come to you with a leather-bound weed menu of different types of weed with flourishy descriptions of the weed, like it's wine or something. So it is what it is, but you don't have to go in there,
Right. I don't know. Kimmy Hunt with a rant said the pop top was invented here in Dayton, Ohio by Ermal Fraze in 1963. It started to be used in cans in 1965. So pre-moon landing.
Okay. Yeah, I said it was pre-moon landing. I know that. I remember after the moon landing seeing, this is just my anecdotal stuff, seeing the pop tops after the moon landing.
Okay. Let me see. Kitty 724 with a $10 rant. One of y'all's most comprehensive, interesting shows. Covered a lot and much fun. Love you guys and glad to be a Locals member now.
Well, look at that. Maybe she's going to meet up with us in Florida at the Boca Raton. I think Viva should run for mayor of Boca.
He's not.
I mean, it's a small job. It's a ceremonial job, but it is a job. It is, you could be a mayor of a city. I mean, it is a legitimate place, and I think he would do very well there.
Maybe.
I'm going to raise it. I'm going to raise it at the meetup.
I think his politics
Boca's red,
from the
Boca's red. Boca's red.
Well, not his neighborhood, but
yeah,
I've heard people like looking at him askance. Flea Speech said, somebody ought to meme Sergeant Major Tim holding a howitzer with a tampon. Hee.
Is that you?
That was you.
Oh, that was me.
And then Carl Burkhalter settling it out, saying burro is Spanish for donkey, often means feral.
Oh, feral. Oh, interesting. Whoa.
So that makes
this is something you'd learn on Jeopardy. You know what I mean?
Yes. But we can continue this discussion on donkeys and
burros,
and crossbreeding of different species and whatever good times on locals.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys consider going over there, and I think it's a pretty awesome deal. If you're going to come to the meetup or want to come to the meetup, you get a locals membership, and it's practically included.
Plus a cheap hotel room.
The hotel room, yes, it's going to be very, very competitive.
Even Hunley's eyes lit up when he saw that price.
I didn't have to. I don't have to stay at the Hunley 6.
No. This is a beautiful swimming pool and a lot of amenities. This is a pretty upscale hotel.
Well, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I hope
that's why we're moving to this hotel. Not that the other one was bad. This is a little cheaper and it's 10 times better.
And we're hoping to have at least one local join us.
Yes, maybe the future mayor of Boca Raton.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens, but we'll discuss these things further and all of our plans on locals. There's a link in the description on structured.locals.com.
Right.
You can join there for free. Be a member for free. So, and if you like it,
what is so freaking difficult? You can be a member for free.
You can. You absolutely can.
Weird. That's weird.
And you know what? Before you even head over there, you don't have to leave. You can look lower on your screen,
right?
And there's a button where you can subscribe here. And that's 100% free.
Right.
It is
not locals, though. This is not locals.
This is not locals. We're going to locals,
right?
But on the way out, maybe you can subscribe. Hit the little
to this channel.
Yeah, why not? You're here.
Okay.
Or if you're on Rumble, follow. There's follow button.
I see that.
And if you're on locals, well, you're on locals. We'll see you here momentarily.
Okay. Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye, YouTube.